It was February 23rd, which is my oldest son's birthday. I was trying to, go pick up some money before the day got started. I went and picked us out matching shoes, had my shoes on, was waiting on him to get up, but I ran out the house to go meet up with somebody who I called a brother, which ended up being a bad situation for me. February alone is a hard month to deal with, dealing with depression, fighting anxiety, and continuing to move on, knowing what I've been through. About 10 o'clock in the morning, I went to meet a guy that I grew up with to sell him some, and things just went south. He pulled a gun out on me, attempted to take what I had. We fought over the gun and over the whatever for a couple minutes, and then the gun finally went off, which left me sitting over the front of the seat, paralyzed. It just shut my body down. I didn't feel a bullet. I wasn't bleeding, but I stayed calm and got rushed to the hospital by a good friend of mine, Mel. The doctors told me that if he wouldn't have got me there as fast as he did, I probably would have died in the car because the bullet punctured my lungs. I mean, still to this day, I got a lot of effects, post-traumatic stress from that day, a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety, just a lot of things that I had to learn to cope with and live with. I got shot right here in this area, parked in the car. And you see how close this is to the other house? It's right down the street. I got shot in 2014 when I came home from the hospital. Came home to the Ferguson riots happening right on my street. You stand on my backyard, you could have seen where Mike Brown got shot at. You seen where everything went down. People parked out in front of my house during the protests every night. Getting tear gas, can't even leave out the house because the tear gas coming in your house. And 2014 was a hard year. City still picking back up from it.
When did you feel that this was necessary?
Moving to Jeff City, getting a peace of mind. Finally got to sit down and refigure out who I was, after being shot. They helped me figure out what I wanted to do, what was my purpose here.
I'm pretty sure whenever you did get shot, man, you definitely thought about the life you lived so far and thought about the what ifs and, how life would be like if you ended up leaving here.
Yeah, for real, it was mostly my kids, and if I could take care of my kids comfortably, why not help another family? You know what I mean? And you put families together, we all raising our kids together, they all go to the same schools, they go to each other's birthday parties, they do stuff together.
It takes a village.
Take a village. We build the community bridges. So we put our own community together, basically, inside of a community, And we just take care of each other, man. At the time, I had just had my daughter. She was 8 months. My daughter was 8 months old. That's all I wanted to see. I didn't want to see nobody else. I didn't want to hear from nobody else. I felt like everybody was against me, you know what I mean? Because of the relationship that I had with the person that did it to me, Just felt like the world was against me. But knowing my family, I know my immediate family, the ones that I'm with every single day, you know what I mean? I know they gonna always be there for me, so I was very happy to see them. And I'm glad they stuck with me through that time because it got rough.
tiptoes.
Nice to meet you. I'm PJ, by the way.
Keisha, nice to meet you.
Keisha. We was just in here talking about y'all.
I didn't know where he was. I just received a call that said he was shot, and I froze. Everything went blank. Like I didn't know what to do. I really couldn't react. But when it finally registered, I just started making phone calls. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? And I'm just leaving out the house. I'm driving. He's here. He's there. I'm going wherever. Whatever information I'm getting, I'm just going to those places until I finally found out where he was, which was Barnes.
Yeah, I know it was probably stressful too, because they weren't really telling you much information, were they, about him?
No, the police basically treated us like we were criminals. They treated me like a criminal. They wanted to know pretty much all the information I had on the phone. Who did you speak to? Who did you text? Who said what? Where did they tell you to go? They were like questioning. I thought I was probably going to go to prison over this.
Like, you think that brought you guys closer?
No.
No?
No, if anything, it created major trust issues. He basically isolated himself from the world. And even with me being there by his side, taking care of him, I was still outside of the circle.
Yeah.
So to go through something like that, wouldn't wish that on nobody. For real. A lot of people don't really even make it through. You know what I mean? Situations like that, tragedies. A lot of people end up strung out, you know, and lost in the world for real. Or in jail, you know what I mean? Doing something just off emotion.
Because I feel like it's because people give up on those people. They don't realize how much help that person really needs. Like, even though Lorenzo was not the best person to me, I would not leave, even though I had so many people telling me, just leave, Keisha, leave. That's just too much stress. No, what if he never start walking? You don't want to be with somebody in a wheelchair for the rest of your life. And I just kept saying, yeah, I mean, I understand you all's point of view, but something is telling me not to leave him. I don't know what it is, but something is telling me that he needs me by his side right now. And I just stayed, you know. I don't regret it. I understand, you know, some of the things he went through now that I'm in school for human services, and I'm taking psych classes and learning the human mind and how it works. So I'm very understanding to what happened now.
How proud of Lorenzo are you, to be exact?
I'm very proud of him. Like, I honestly feel like I told him, even though I felt like something was keeping me next to him, I felt like I was maybe an angel for him, but he was an angel for me too.
Yeah. And what exactly are you gonna be helping out with the nonprofit?
Well, right now my main focus is school, but anytime Lorenzo need me to help anywhere, I'm there. Doesn't matter if he's just asking me to help clean up something, I'm there.
Yep. And are you worried about him being out here and doing the programs that he's thinking about doing with the community? Does that worry you at all?
Worry? No, it doesn't worry me. At the beginning, when it all started, I found out I was pregnant. And that's when he was out working the hardest, making connections and stuff, so I didn't have him at home. So I almost wish this would just go away. But when you look at the bigger picture, you see it's something that's really needed in the community. So I wouldn't interfere with that. So
this section, or this whole area, we're gonna do photography studio / videography, stuff like that. Right now, this little section, we've been shooting the PCB Chronicles. Just give people an inside look on what we're really doing. You know, we put in a lot of footwork to get where we are, and it's hard to put in footwork and keep up with stuff like social media and talking to people. You know what I mean? Keeping up with what we got going on when you actually out here doing stuff. You gonna make that?
How did you cope with that situation? Like, what did you end up doing when you finally recovered? Yep. Did you end up talking to the guy?
Long after, but when it first happened and recovering, drugs was my cope. You know, I was prescribed pain pills, anxiety medicine. I abused it. You know what I mean? Which really tore my family up. It caused me to lie to them. You know, trying to hide it. You know what I mean? But it was really obvious. But that was my coping, was getting high and just being numb to everything, so I wouldn't be scared to go up and down the street or scared to go to a store. You know what I mean? Not scared, but paranoid. You know, feeling like everybody out to get me. Just being sober, my thoughts was eating me up because I felt like everybody was against me. That was the hardest time was after. I think fighting through it and learning how to walk again, I ain't gonna say it was easy, but it was like a challenge to me, you know what I mean? So I like challenges, you know. I'm not the type of person that back down. I step up when it's time. I didn't tell nobody to do it.
Okay.
It was just, it is what it is, you know what I mean? I seen him a few times, talked to him, you know, he apologized and all that kind of stuff, but that's been since I've been in Jeff City, you know. When I was in St. Louis, just was hiding out, I guess, you know. Nobody wanted to come talk to me, come see what's really going on, you know what I mean? Because me personally, I want to know. I want to know how you feel, you know what I mean? Because I've been on the other end of that situation. So it's like, I know what was going through my head. So I want to know what was going through his head at the time, you know what I mean? And I feel like, it's like I could've retaliated, you know what I mean? But why risk going to jail or risk my life again, you know, for somebody that's not working? You know what I mean? I got a family to take care of. It just wouldn't be worth it for me, you know? Got bigger dreams. I want to see better things happen for my kids, you know? So to be out of that life, that wouldn't sit well with me being out of that life over something that's, you know, materialistic.
You said materialistic.
Money,
right, but that wouldn't be the reason why I would want to retaliate. Like, it was almost your life.
but the streets gonna hurt you way more. Me being the person that I am, and people knowing who did what and what happened, you gonna suffer. You gonna suffer because you're not gonna really do what you want to do. You're not gonna really be able to survive. You know? It's gonna be harder. It's gonna be harder for you hurting somebody that was good.
Just gotta look at the situation and just know that you was blessed and keep it moving.
Take it and keep moving.
Still here, you got
Even though it's hard, and a lot of people can't do it like that. I know a lot of people that didn't make it from stuff like that. I shouldn't have made it a few times from situations like that, but look at the big picture.
So what was that process like whenever he was in the recovery phase?
Stressful. I have pictures where, like, my normal pant size is like 9'11". I went all the way down to a size 5. I worked 12-hour shifts in a nursing home, so to have to change him, it was nothing. It wasn't a big deal for me, but I felt bad because I knew his dignity was, you know, at 21, who really wants their girlfriend to clean them the way that I had to clean him? It was stressful trying to push him too, because he was always in pain, and instead of getting up, walking around, he would always convince me to just leave him be. But I would always explain to him, you know, you won't progress if you don't get up and try. But you know, I'm just happy that his cousin, his adult cousin, stepped in, and she talked about how he needed to, that Barnes did wrong by releasing him the way they did, because they pretty much said he can't walk, he won't ever be able to use anything, you know, from the waist down, and that was just, and they just sent him home in pain, just like that. Medicaid took forever to get through, so I was pretty much buying medicine out of pocket, and at the time, I was, in a sense, homeless, because I was staying with his grandma to try to save money, but I couldn't save money purchasing medicine. You know, I wished I had more help, but I didn't have the help that I expected to have. I worked maybe 30 minutes away from the house, and I would get calls, you know, Lorenzo needs to be cleaned up, and I would have to leave work to drive all the way home just to get him together and then go back to work. It was really stressful, all the while trying to move into my own place. I worked for a nursing home, St. Sophia, for about 4 years, and I built up a good enough relationship with them that they let me take anything I needed for him, to care for him, anything, diapers, walkers, urinals, things like that. So it took a lot of stress off of me, but we both were skinny. Both of us were skinny. It was hard changing a newborn. I had a newborn at the time. Change a newborn, turn around, change him. I couldn't sleep in the same bed with him because he was just so, he was in pain all the time. And then being incontinent, you know. So he would call me, could you come in, change, can you rotate me, can you change me, can you rotate me, can you move this leg? It was hard, and at one point, I found myself just laying there listening to the phone ring because I was just so overwhelmed. I just sat there, listened, and after like the third ring, I'm like, let me get up. I only did it that one time, but I was just like, I just didn't know what to do at that point. It was just getting too hard and out of control, all the while being, you know, caring for somebody who didn't make me feel like he cared for me. So it was really hard. And when he did finally, you know, recover, in a sense, he kind of got addicted to the meds that they had him on. And so then that was a whole new fight to get him away from those drugs. It really affected our family. Hearing him talk about how much pain he was in and how, you know, Medicaid isn't paying for his meds. And at this point, I have a house. I have an apartment now. Now I have bills, and I can't really afford all these meds and stuff anymore. So I found myself finding people who had them that I could get them for a cheaper price, thinking that I was helping him, but I was only just supporting his addiction. I went through a lot through high school. I had a cousin, a 5-year-old cousin, get a hold of a gun and shoot his stuff in the head, and that haunted me. Like, I just couldn't understand like how something like that could even happen. And I seen a lot of girls that went through not even half the stuff I went through that was dropping out and still don't have a GED to this day. And I just look at the stuff that I've done. No, I'm not the best person. I'm not the greatest person. I'm not rich. I'm not this. I'm not that. But I'm happy. I have a family we're taken care of, and we're still able to chase our dreams. And a lot of people don't have the chance to just at least chase their dreams. So I'm thankful that I have that chance.
My second year of college, I ended up taking this military skills course. It was a free elective, and in that course we had to read a book called On Killing by David Grossman. And the book basically was based on SLA Marshall studies from World War II, which proposed that contrary to popular perception, the majority of soldiers in that war didn't even fire their weapons. This was because there was pretty much a resistance to killing. And to fix that quote-unquote problem, the government decided to implement a training technique where they actually put regular people on the silhouettes at the gun ranges. This increased the fire rates of the soldiers by 90% in the next war, the Vietnam War. If you think about it, they basically were desensitized to killing. And the fact that they actually had actual people to shoot at the gun range made it easier for them to shoot at actual people in real life. A lot of people don't know that. Ironically, the government does though, because they make the people at the FBI headquarters in Virginia read the book. They also have the book on a recommended list for the Marine Corps. So they know that there is a way to get people desensitized to killing. And they implement that training into military courses across the world, police academies possibly. I see on movies from time to time, and it's just a movie, but still, when a police officer's at a gun range, they actually have a guy that's standing there and pointing a gun back at them, you know, and they're shooting at that silhouette. And basically, this is pretty much what happened on a broader scale when it comes to everyday life. You have video games, music, and other outlets that are desensitizing people to killing and violence. I remember when I was younger, World Star Hip Hop was very popular because they always showed the latest fights, you know. And one of the very first-person shooter games came out on computer in about 1973, and it was called Maze War. And Maze War was just a game where you went around a maze and you basically found people and you shot them. And this was the beginning of something big, you know, bigger than what most people expected, because gradually these games started evolving into more violent, extremely graphic, you know, content. You actually have the option on some games to turn the graphic content off, because people know that it's desensitizing our youth. Because when you're playing a game and you shoot somebody, you see blood, you hear the person actually in agony or whatever you want to call it, and basically if you're doing that repeatedly, you end up becoming desensitized to it. According to Wikipedia, Grossman points out in the book that there are great psychological costs that weigh heavily on the combat soldier or police officer who kills. If they are not mentally prepared for what may happen, if their actions, quote-unquote killing, are not supported by their commanders and or peers, if they are unable to justify their actions, or if no one else justifies their actions. The book is pointing out that people around you have to be comfortable with it as well. And that's basically what we see today. Everybody's almost playing first-person shooter games, or have played first-person shooter games, or have allowed their kids to play first-person shooter games. And just like I said with Michael Myers, once you start something like that at an early age, kids become desensitized to it. You know, they don't see anything wrong with killing. I remember when I was little, my mom really didn't like the idea of me having any guns. My dad, he's actually a gun advocate. He loves weapons of all sorts, and he does believe in protecting his home with firearms. You know, so I was raised around guns, and I actually knew right from wrong, and I actually knew that guns were nothing to play with, you know, growing up, because that's what I was taught. I was taught gun safety at an early age. However, I did actually play first-person shooter games, and I'm going to say I was not the type of person to pick up, you know, Call of Duty or Halo, which I did. So I challenge you to educate somebody. Don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to stand up for what you believe in.